Hello, good morning. Welcome to JoyNews. That's we're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomle, maybe on DTT,
with us
because we're free to air. Coming up this morning in a wave of collective disappointment, anger and fury, Ghanaians grapple with the aftermath of a potential painful exit from the 2023 AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire.
We are very much disappointed on this game. I think Black Stars is becoming one of the useless teams in Africa.
More as fans and the whole nation is on tenterhooks and wait for its fate to be determined by the outcome of the next game. Also, ongoing water rationing in some areas will continue till installation of new equipment is completed. That's according to the Water Company Limited, speaking to JoyNews amid complaints of shortage of water in parts of the Central and Greater Accra regions. We'll hear from them shortly. Until joint strike by Senior Staff Association to mount pressure on government to demand improved working conditions while protesting delay in their Tier 2 pension payment. We're live in Legon to gauge the impact of the strike. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Let's settle for details. In a wave of collective disappointment, anger and fury, Ghanaians are grappling with the aftermath of a potential painful exit from the 2023 AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire. Scores of fans who watched the Black Stars game against Mozambique at the Alassane Ouattara Olympic Stadium in Abidjan are incensed over the team's abysmal performances in the AFCON 2023 tournament. They want the technical team led by coach Chris Houghton sacked as the national team's head coach. My colleague Anna Sabit was at the stadium where he came through with this report.
Well, it's all over here at the Alassane Ouattara Olympic Stadium here in Abidjan. The Black Stars of Ghana, after leading by 2-0, had to concede 2 late goals, and that means the game ended in a 2-2 draw, leaving the thousands of supporters who thronged the stadium to throw their weight behind the national team disappointed. We come across a couple of them here behind the stadium, and we want to speak with them and have them share with us how disappointed they are at this particular 2-2 scoreline here at the Alassane Ouattara Sports Stadium.
We are very much disappointed on this game. I think Black Stars is becoming one of the useless teams in Africa. Black Stars is becoming one of the useless teams in Africa. What is happening? Why? All what is needed, the fans will be able to do it. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them?
Well, I'm very disappointed. The players didn't help us at all. Because having 2 goals, and then we went to sleep, and then allowing the Mozambique to equalize the 2 goals. I think it is very bad. It is very bad. The players didn't do well at all. We have 2 goals, so yours is to defend that 2 goals. At least if you are not going to score additional goal, maintain that 2.
And then I'm not fan of the match. When you are G, you go be a crime. I want to say no because you 2 goals. I should 2 penalties. 2 minutes to 90 minutes. You have to go. It's a goal now. But what is a goal now? Defend the goal for us, so that at the end we qualify and win. That's what we want. We don't need any more goal. Like 2-1 is good for us. Now show my in our boy.
Yes, of course, I look very disappointed. I think that there's something wrong with Ghana Football Association. Ghana Football Association, as a matter of that controls football in Ghana, there's something wrong with our football association. Look, our local league is dead. Division 1 is dead. Division 2 is dead. After court, I don't even want to go there. How many of our local players are playing with the Black Stars? How many? It is so sad. It is so sad. Hey,
But we are happy of it. You know, criminal and free. In Ayabutu, it's let's say Black Star team no more share. In Ayakuma the team Nichi. The Banisana, and that's all my area.
I'm very disappointed. Even now, I don't even know whether I should go back to Ghana or I should even remain here. Because back home, they'll be laughing at me. Because when you see at the stadium, the atmosphere, how we are celebrating the 2 goals, I'm very sad. I'm very sad. It's sad as a football.
Most of these fans do not understand how the Black Stars of Ghana, considered those 2 late goals. They believe the technical team did not help in terms of their substitutions, and they are calling for the head of Chris Hughton.
What I will say that the player they don't do anything. It's a coach. How can you remove the defender and bring the striker inside when the time is up already? How can you defend your goal? So I think this coach is not a good coach. We have to sack him.
I told you earlier that technically, tactically, systematically, strategically, psychologically, these coaches cannot help us. And it has come clear. Look at the changes that they did. He scored 2 goals, and within 6 minutes, they were able to equalize. So Chris Whitten and his technical team there, Masha, they have to leave Ghana earlier. I'm telling you, the technical team is bankrupt. Their liability. They should move away from that place so that we can play matches without a coach.
Let's send players in now. Let's start coaches in now. Let's have a local players. Never train them here. Now we Mama Ghana Blaster. I'll be happy. Pa.
So this has been the unfortunate, scoreline here at the Alassane Ouattara Sports Stadium, where the Black Stars of Ghana considered 2 late goals to draw the game 2-2 with Mozambique. Finishing the group with 2 points at the 3rd spot. We wait to see the outcome of the rest of the group games to determine whether the Black Stars are kicked out of the tournament or they'll be able to proceed to the next stage of the competition. From the Alassane Ouattara Olympic Stadium here in Abidjan, my name is Anas Sabit, reporting for JoyNews.
By football administrator Atsu Tamakloe for a conversation. I'll also be joined by Atsu Tamakloe of Joy Sports. Mr. Atsu Tamakloe will be engaging us on the performance of the Black Stars and what a future national team should look like. I'm grateful for your time, Mr. Tamakloe. First, your impression about the Black Stars' performance at AFCON, especially in their last game with Mozambique.
First, let me make a correction here. My name is Atsu Tamakloe. My surname is Atsu Tamakloe.
Great, thanks so much for the correction.
So you call me Dr. Atsu Tamakloe. Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Atsu Tamakloe.
What was your question?
Your impression about the performance of the Black Stars at AFCON, especially in their last game?
Well, I wasn't expecting anything different, I must confess. Because one thing I have noticed is that we don't seem to learn from history. And if you don't learn from history, you can never progress in life. Now, I would like to take you back to few years that were when this cup. We have won this cup 4 times in the history of our country. The first winning is when Sergeant Dr. Kwame was the head of state. Kwame Nkrumah had interest. So what he did was that, and in fact, he was among those who initiated with FIFA for the game started in Africa. When Kwame came in, he realized the need for special hands to handle football. Because we had then just come out of independence. Our experience was not that much. So Nkrumah engaged a coach from Sweden by name Schroeder. He came, he stayed in Ghana here as a coach. He wasn't an absentee coach. Stayed in Ghana. He he went across the country, watched local football, even in villages, and picked boys with talent. Of course, before then we had 4 principal clubs, football clubs in Ghana. That is Accra Asofo, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Cape Coast, Mysterious Back, and secondly Hazaki. From these 4 clubs that I mentioned, he made his selection, including some of these boys that he saw they had talent from the rural areas and other things. Nkrumah appointed a special director by name Hinijan for sport. Hinijan was very efficient and he led this country, particularly football, very well during his term. And through that, Ghana was able to achieve the ultimate at that time as far as football was concerned. We won the cup. Nkrumah didn't stop there. He noticed the need for the youth in football and created what he called the Real Republicans. The Real Republicans were boys under the age of 17 and so. So most of the players were from the secondary school. They matured, and with time, they joined the main mother team and gained experience, and they were also able to win us the cup. Now, when Nkrumah left the scene after he had been removed from power, the military junta didn't get us any cup. Then power got into the hands of civilians, headed by Professor Posey. During that period, we were not able to get any cup. But ironically, when General Champo took over this country, he tried to follow some of the footsteps of Nkrumah, both in agriculture and other sectors, including football. So he gave special attention to the game and also appointed a special commissioner in charge of sports and the branch as that was the name. And once again, we had very good results. And that was the 3rd time that we won the cup. I remember vividly, the boys were flown in a chopper from Accra to the Burma Cup to greet Achampo. Achampo honored them. The 4th and the last was during the era of Dr. Hila Liman as president. Liman had interest. He appointed a young child who had interest in sports also. And once again, we had results. But unfortunately, he didn't stay in power to see how the boys perform. He was removed by Jerry John Rawlings. Now, Rawlings, during his era, as I said earlier, the work has been done by Liman. Rawlings just saw the tail end of it. During his era, the match was to be played, the finals was to be played in Libya. And we were at the finals, or we were to play Libya at the final. And we couldn't fly to Libya because the country had no money, like we have now. So Libya's head, state by the name Gaddafi, sent an aircraft here to pick our boys, including Abedi Pele, the father of Ayo and the other gentleman. And they were flown to Libya. The Libyans thought because we were broke, they could defeat us. We defeated them. And that was the last time. That is 42 years ago. And the reason is quite simple. If government fails to show interest in sport, we shall always be at where we are. Any government that comes on who will not put money into football or sport should forget about getting good results. So in short, this is how I see. We have to also make sure that we create a youthful side that will be trained by a coach who will lead in the country, not a coach who will be staying outside. And when we have a competition, we just gather some boys in it. Most of them bench warmers, then train them for a week, and then put them in competition. With that sort of practice, we shall never win major competition. So that's all that I would say.
I'm grateful for your time, Dr. Atsu Tamakloe, with his thoughts on why the Black Stars are not performing. In the studio with me is Atsu Tamakloe. He's with Joy Sports. Atsu, I mean, most of your colleagues were optimistic. I mean, I heard Fenchu so many times, expressing so much hope in the Black Stars that they will win. But unfortunately, we didn't get there. What went wrong, I mean, from what you know?
Well, what went wrong is a product of everything that we have seen for the last 5 years, because even at the AFCON, we have not been great. Yesterday's results meant that the Black Stars have now gone 10 consecutive games across 3 tournaments at the AFCON. And we've only won once in those matches. If you look back at the performance yesterday, it was very similar to the performance that we have seen under Chris Hughton and the main coaches before him. And for me, the only conclusion I can draw is that this is because there is a rotten technical culture at the Black Stars. And not just a technical one, but even in terms of the management of the team. But it is the responsibility of the Chris Hughton-led technical team to fix the problems that preceded or that necessitated his appointment. And I don't think there can be any question about the quality of work he has done. I think all Ghanaians should be unanimous in their assessments that the job that Chris Hughton has done has not been satisfactory in terms of squad selection, in terms of putting out a squad that is balanced enough, that can give Ghana a competitive outlook in these tournaments. The in-game management, which you would want to see during matches, so the substitutions that they would make, the tactical adjustments that they would make ostensibly to enhance the chances of Ghana winning these games have not been good enough. And so for me, I think that changes have to be made in that regard, but also in the context of the team, because look, we have made a habit of politicizing periods of transition when we have to. And that's why players like Andre Ayew will still feel like they need to be part of this team, but difficult decisions have to be taken if progress will be made, because you cannot continue calling the same substandard players. I mean, majority of the players who played yesterday are players that have played for the Black Stars in the past year, in the past 2 years, and they have been mediocre. The experienced players in the team who yesterday shared responsibility and threw a 23-year-old Kudus Mohamed to go and face the media instead of taking responsibility have been around for as long as I can remember. They have gone past their sell-by dates. The captain, Andre Ayew, is a spent force. He's of no value to the team unless we come to the realization that he has to go. The other players, Daniel Amate, who are not serving any tangible purpose in the team, also have to go and make these difficult decisions. And perhaps the FA themselves also look at, beyond the Black Stars, their management of Ghana football and accept some responsibility. And if they're minded to, roll out some policies that will fix the mess that we're currently in.
You just heard Dr. Atsu Tamakloe talks about funding, that, I mean, any government who refuses to put in a lot of money into the Black Stars or the national team should always prepare themselves to fail. You think it's just about money? Haven't we spent enough money on the Black Stars?
I don't think anyone can make an issue of money. I disagree. Last week and in the past month, we have been assessing the FIFA Goal Project and the monies that the Forward program have gone to the various federations. Ghana has received no less than $8 million from FIFA, but there is no evidence of that money being invested into Ghana football. The ecosystem is no better for the money that we have had. The FA has mismanaged those resources and they've sunk them into ventures that are of no value, long-term, short-term, medium-term. So we cannot make the issue of money. We have had enough money to spend. I mean, if you look at some of the teams that are playing in this tournament, Mauritania, they completed their National Olympic Stadium with the FIFA Forward Goal Project's money that they had. They used some of those monies to build a technical center, a medical center, AstroTurfs, build up their women's football. There is evidence of those monies. And they got what? $11.1 million. We had $8 million. And there is nothing to point to for that. Yes, money is important and it can improve the quality of investment that you can make, especially the technical support or the technical structure that you have in the country. But our problems are purely managerial, from the coaching situation to the guys who sit at the Ghana Football Association's offices and make all of those ridiculous decisions. I don't think we can give them a pass by suggesting that football in this country is poorly funded. Yes, we could do with a bit more money, but that is not why we're failing. Everybody
is blaming Andrew Ayew for getting that penalty, but a lot of people are not talking about the goalkeeper, Ofori, who people say he's performed abysmally since the beginning of this AFCON.
Richard Ofori should not have made the squad. He's now third choice in South Africa where he plays. The goalkeeper who's number one and starts ahead of him was not even deemed to be good enough to play for South Africa. And so that should put matters into context, the ridiculous nature of the decision that we made, or the technical team made, to not only select him, but also make him Ghana's number one. And his performances have more or less justified the concerns that a lot of people raised about whether or not he deserved to be in this team. But I don't think that he can be used or held up as a reason to let Andre slide. I don't think people are criticizing Andre for his performance in this tournament. For me, the issue with Andre is that he should not be part of this team. I mean, he's gone past his sell-by date. And look, when it was time for us to move the team on in the 90s, in the early 2000s, and I'll take you back to the C.K. Akuno era, mistakes were made. C.K. Akuno found out that he had been stripped of the Black Stars captaincy during a BBC interview. Those mistakes will be made, but eventually we'll move the team on. In 2010, after the before the World Cup, Milovan Rajovac had to take the bold decision and say that, you know what, Suleiman Tari, Stephen Appiah, Michael Essien, they have passed their sell-by dates. They're on their last legs. We need to prioritize the future of the team. That is how come Andre Ayew started getting game time in the team. He became a central figure. Himself, Samuel Nkum, Emmanuel Ajman-Bedu, and all of that. And it was because they were good. Andre did not get into the Black Stars team because of his father's name or because people liked him. Genuinely, he had quality. Unfortunately, he no longer has it. And this isn't personal. Himself, Daniel Amati, and the whole pack of them. We cut ties. We made a clean break from Mubarak Wakasu. And I liked it. We have to do the same for this generation and allow and try to win the team of its dependency on players who are not performing anyway.
How do we put together a better Black Stars for future matches?
It has to start from the Ghana Football Association. They have to completely take their hands off the team because, and in October 2020, I believe, it was Ajoy that Keto Kweku came here to say that every call-up will have his input and that if he can be part of the selection process, he will delegate someone to be part of that decision. When you have the FA president speaking in such manner and publicly admitting to influencing team selections, it is problematic. But it also points to a rotten culture where people who are not technical people have undue influence in that team. That has got to end. The current coach has no relationship with the FA president and the entire Ghana Football Association machinery. Did you know that before the tournament, Ghana had a chance to play Algeria? But the FA turned down that opportunity without even informing the head coach because they were not on talking terms. That has got to change. Whoever is a Black Stars coach needs to have a good relationship with the people who run the federation and essentially facilitate his work, right? And so that bit has to be done. And for me, once you have clear demarcations of whose job, who does what, where, whose power ends, at least that's a step. That gives a team or the structure a semblance of professionalism so that roles do not overlap. But also, you have a few people there who become the institutional memory of the organization and ensure that some of the bad habits that have been tolerated and essentially have been woven into the very fabric of the team's culture are discarded. And then you take on new ideas and values that you can run the team with before you even come to the determination of who the coach is. Because the last two appointments that we made were not really technical. Chris Hughton got the job because there was a public clamor by Ghanaians that if you compare him to Otuado and the other options available, he was vastly experienced and a far better candidate than the other players. But I'm saying to you that going forward, the decision of who becomes a national team coach has to be a technical appointment. Yes, the economic considerations will be made, but it has to move beyond novices like myself or any journalist who will push their preference and say that this is what I think. Football is scientific now. The technical aspect will only be understood and properly appreciated by people whose job it is. And so we need to move on from that as well.
Coach enough, we've blamed the GFA enough, we've blamed the players themselves, but we're not talking about resources. How much resources are available to all these people to manage the football the way we want?
More than enough.
Okay. More
than enough, to the extent that we can make ridiculous decisions like going to South Africa to come for a tournament that is next door Ivory Coast. We can make ridiculous decisions like deciding to pay players per diems in dollars for a pre-tournament camp in Ghana. Enough resources for us to fly them in to ensure that they sleep in the best of hotels, they have the best of facilities. Before every major tournament, the Ghana Football Association typically hires auxiliary technical staff for the team. I remember the last time we made the AFCON final in 2015, the FA hired Gerard Nus, who yesterday put out a tweet that he was actually watching the game. But this is the kind of support that we have given the teams or the coaches in the past. So there's not a question of money. There's not a question of support. The only area that I would say maybe we need to pay a bit more attention is the size of the backroom staff and the quality of the people that we appoint there. If you compare the people on Ghana's backroom staff to the names on the other teams, we pale in comparison. They are vastly inexperienced. A lot of them have not had any experience as far as top-level technical jobs are concerned, let alone apex coaching job like the Black Stars of Ghana. And so that technical team, the backroom staff, needs to be improved with people who not only know their job, but also the numbers that will allow them to be able to properly share the responsibility and focus on where they can do the best job.
Perspectives there, very interesting perspectives. But let's look at how people have been venting their fury against the players and their managers. Look at some clips on social media.
Yes, we wouldn't even war. I didn't know. I abandoned. Good night. That why I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Good night.
This is why when they talk, someone say me good talk. The most stupid thing I've ever seen in my life, is being a Ghanaian. Sometimes, one man is talking, somebody just say, why they talk like why? Yeah, Jimmy Dudu, you don't know opportunity. You understand me?
Oh, Yamia or Bossero. On one about taxi. Australia assassin to Minina. Minina Chinese out. On an hour ding pudding. To Minina, Yanidia. Yes, we wouldn't hear me all. I ding in us.
Oh mine. Black stars can just break your heart. Well, better luck next time. Let's get on to other stories. The Ghana Water Company Limited says the reported water shortage being experienced in parts of both Central and Greater Accra regions will last until the installation of new equipment is completed. A number of communities in the two regions have suffered disruption in regular flow of water. Others have been experiencing unannounced water rationing, leaving them in high demand. Speaking to JoyNews, Director of Communications at the Ghana Water Company, Stanley Marty, said the problem is as a result of wear and tears of major equipment at two of its water treatment points. That's the Kpong and the Weja plants. Though he said new equipment have been procured to replace the worn-out ones, it will take some time to complete the new installations. He's urging the public to store as much water as they can and when their taps are running, because the rationing of water will last a while longer before the situation normalizes. He spoke with Benjamin Akakwo.
There's a fault, then we need to improvise or do whatever we can to put it back in. Well, we wouldn't even get the parts. But fortunately, we had to import some from somewhere, and thankfully, yesterday we had it. Immediately, we had them put everything back, fixed it, and then we started full operation. So thankfully, we are operating full capacity in Kpong, operating full capacity in Weja. The desalination plant is not giving us enough, but at least it is good to serve that Teshin enclave. We are augmenting that with some water from our thermal booster station. And so we are hopeful that by this weekend, the system should stabilize. The system should be fine from today or from tomorrow. But by the weekend, we should see that stability after a full rationing program. They're still running our rationing program.
You're still rationing water. In which areas are you rationing?
Is the entire Accra.
The whole of Accra.
The whole of Accra. Some people may have more number of days than others by virtue of their proximity to maybe our main lines and all that. So some will get like 5 days, some will get like 6 days, some will get like 2 days. Averagely, the rationing program is 4 days. Within the system.
That may explain why for over a week water has come through my end only once.
But prior to all these challenges, were you getting regular flow or you were getting water on specific days?
Every maximum every 3 to 4 days.
Yes,
we would have every 3 days thereabouts. Now it's so you can say you've added on another 3 to 4 days to that cycle.
Yes, so now that the system, we expect the system to stabilize by the weekend, I'm sure the flow will be better from next week. But the other challenge is we are also entering into the dry season. The dry season comes with its own challenges. So I want to appeal to the general public that they should bear with us. Let us conserve water. Let us use water responsibly and wisely, so that at least we all can, survive till we enter into the rainy season.
From water to electricity, because the company, ECG, says it is yet to implement the 15% value-added tax on power consumed by customers above lifeline levels. As part of government's post-COVID recovery plan, the finance minister officially notified the country that its distributor, through the Ministry of Energy, will impose a levy on power consumers above lifeline levels, a policy which it says should take effect from January. But external communications manager of Electricity Company of Ghana, Leila Abubakar, tells JoyNews the ECG needs a bit more time to understand how to implement the new regime. She also touched on how the company is dealing with its debt obligations to independent power producers. Blessed Soga has more.
In its latest post on social media, the Electricity Company of Ghana acknowledged the impact of the intermittent power cuts across the country while indicating that it is actively working to resolve the crisis. There is mounting pressure on the country's energy distributor ECG to announce a load shedding exercise which will allow power consumers plan effectively for the unexpected outages. But ECG is downplaying the calls and allaying the fears of the public. Leila Abubakari is the External Communications Manager at the Electricity Company of Ghana.
There were unforeseen events that led to power outages. However, all these issues have been resolved to the barest minimum. We are very sure that these outages are not those that we have foreseen or as a result of a generation shortfall. It would be a local fault. But when someone says give them a load shedding timetable, then it means that we are sure that there's definitely a deficit. When you are not sure there's a deficit, how can you give a timetable for something that doesn't exist? If we know that we are going to be short of a certain amount of kilowatts per hour or gigawatts per hour, and we know it's going to be for a particular period of time, then we can come out and give our customers a timetable. But if it's something that is unforeseen, like if one plant all of a sudden goes off because they had an issue that they had to terminate, or if we didn't expect that maybe a tree will fall on a very important line, or one of our BSPs catches fire, and we are not aware of these things coming at us, how can we give a timetable to the customers?
The Ministry of Finance at the start of the year wrote an official letter communicating to the Ministry of Energy on the need for the imposition of a 15% value-added tax on consumption of electricity for those above the lifeline level. A month into that directive, the Electricity Company of Ghana says it would need some additional time to effectively work out the computation for the imposition of this new levy.
So the value-added tax announcement that came into effect in January has appalled a lot of our customers. The truth of the matter is that we haven't started implementing it, even though that letter says that it should have been activated in January. The reason being, we still have to understand how to implement this tax. So we are having active conversations with the Ministry of Finance, with the Ghana Revenue Authority, and with other stakeholders who have also brought their concerns forward. So for now, there's no value-added tax as announced included in residential tariff or residential customers buying electricity. For now, it's still the old status quo. We've maintained an active engagement with our stakeholders, who mostly comprise of the power generators, to have them on the same page with us in terms of payments. I think since last year, our revenue generation has increased, and we found the way of ring fencing or having an agreement with the IPPs to hold on to the legacy debts that we owe them. But we are very up to date with the current bills that come to our desk. We try as much as possible to pay off those debts so that they can also function as businesses.
There's Ogan reporting for JoyNews, Electoral House, Accra.
Prominent South African politician and founder and leader of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema, is expected in Ghana today. He will be participating in a dialogue organized by pressure group Arise Ghana. Organizers say the event will provide the youth of Ghana with a chance to connect with its activism and commitment to a liberated and united Africa. Julius Malema was billed to speak at a New Africa Foundation event in Ghana last 2 weeks, but that did not happen because of the calling off of the event. Maxwell Agbagba is at the Kotoka International Airport for us. He joins us live with more. Maxwell, what's the current situation? Is Julius Malema in town?
Yes, Aisha, from all indications, he just touched down here on the soil of Ghana, because just some minutes ago we saw some organizers of the event and some members of the Arise Ghana entering this room, this lounge actually, to go and meet up with him. So I want to believe that he touched down on the soil of Ghana, and you can see some members of Arise Ghana also standing here waiting for him to come out, so they welcome him to Ghana. We are told that as part of activities here in the country, his first port of call is going to be a visit to former President John Ejekunkufo. We also told that he'll be paying a courtesy call on former President John Mahama, and that also will be followed by a wreath-laying ceremony at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Of course, we know about Julius Malema's Pan-Africanist values, about his passion for Pan-Africanism and to see a united Africa, one Africa. So we'll be going there to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park to lay a wreath there. But let's speak to some of the organizers of this event. Let me speak to Rex Suma, who's a member of Arise Ghana. Hello, Rex. Welcome to JoyNews. We're live on the JoyNews channel.
Thank you very much.
I want us to move forward a little bit. Okay, we're waiting to welcome you. Okay, great. But you tell us about this event and the purpose, its purpose.
The purpose is simple. You know, as a country, our first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was a big Pan-Africanist. And then same as Comrade Julius Malema. And as Arise Ghana, we just invited him to have a dialogue with us and the Ghanaian youth to inculcate the Pan-African ideas into them. Because in going forward as African country, Pan-Africanism is the things that will help us to gain the bigger picture of our socio-economic development. So he is coming just to dialogue with us and as much possible as Ghanaian youth, that's all.
So where is this event taking place?
It's taking place at the Doctors and Surgeons place at Bridge.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, at 2 p.m. today?
At 2 p.m. today, yes.
Okay. I see Osman Ayariga there. He's an executive of the NDC. Let's speak to him. Osman, some people have criticized Julius Malema for his radical, approach to issues. Some will ask, if you're looking for someone who exudes Pan-Africanism values, is it only Julius Malema that you could settle on? Or would you say that the times are calling for Julius Malema?
We are where we are as a continent due to the lack of radicalism. We are where we are as a country due to this economic mismanagement as a result of lack of radicalism. So we couldn't have found an opportune time to invite someone like Julius Malema, who epitomizes radicalism, and in a positive direction. We are not just radical for the sake of being radicals, but we are radical to make sure we are able to effect the change that we need in society and for our unborn generation and for us as youth of this country. So that is why I am here as a youth leader. I entreat every youth of this country who is watching to be at the College of Physicians and Surgeons this afternoon at 2 p.m. to listen to him. If you're unable to make it there, you should try as much as possible to watch those stations that will be streaming live as he speaks to us.
I'm sure you, just like many others who have expressed interest to be at this event, have expectations. What are your expectations? What are some of the issues that you'd want him to touch on?
Yeah, beyond Africa, I was expecting him to speak about Ghana too, which
Okay.
I know he would also do that. So, and I don't want to take the wind out of the sail. So I'll just tell that beyond he speaking about African radicalism, I'll expect him to also speak about radicalism here at the local level.
Which issues specifically in Ghana? Because we know that some of the issues here in Ghana are also prevalent, in South Africa. You talk about unemployment. It is the case in South Africa. You talk about intermittent power supply, which we've been grappling with for some time now. That's also exists in South Africa.
Yeah, I expect him to speak about all those, and most especially corruption, of which we are experiencing the mother of all corrupt activity, which is currently the SML. SML has actually overtaken the cathedral, so we are beginning to see that we have bigger corrupt activity. So I expect him to speak mainly also on corruption beyond just the amenities that we are not getting as youth of this country. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thanks for speaking.
Thank you very much, my brother.
So we just heard from Osman Ayariga. He's an executive of the NDC, National Executive of the National Democratic Congress. He's also part of Arise Ghana. We're waiting for the organizers and the Tamakloe.
Commissioner at the Headquarters Sector Command, Eric Boni, disclosed to Joy Business that health work will kickstart at a certain point to talk about how businesses can increase in their gains. Let's take a break. When we return, we'll bring you details of all of this in business.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Now, as part of efforts to ensure business continuity and enhance employee motivation, leading indigenous insurance company Star Life Assurance has rewarded selected sales executives for their outstanding performance in 2023. The Star Life 2023 Race of Champions, which aims to recognize hardworking sales executives, also serves as a tool to motivate staff. There's more in this report.
All 70 sales executives were honored in the Star Life 2023 Race of the Champions. The best performing executives were selected from various branches of Star Life Assurance across the country. Deserving members of the sales force were rewarded with local and foreign trips for their outstanding performance in 2023. The head of individual distribution at Star Life Assurance, Peter Chenimo, details the rationale behind the move.
Every year we reward the best of the best. We do this because, of course, as I said, they drive the business. And motivation is so key. It's a motivational tour, or sometimes we call it an incentive tour. We started way back in 2009. For the foreign trips, we started 28. We suspended them because of COVID. So essentially to reward them and appreciate them for the hard work that they've done to push Star Life to number one when it comes to assets, and then number two when it comes to market share.
He explains the need to expand insurance coverage to the informal sector.
We have our sister company, Star Micro, doing a lot over there. We have partnership with a number of rural banks, the teacher market, this semi-informal, and even our collaboration or partnership with Phobia and Fabu, Kotoko, Asante Kotoko, and House of Oak is also a way of bringing the informal sector in. We also have partnership with Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, and it cuts across everywhere. So with these partnerships and the collaborations, we are trying to bring insurance to the lowest level of society.
Patience Ajay and Joseph Tete, two of the beneficiaries, spoke to Joy Business.
I would like to use this opportunity to encourage the youth out there to take up the sales career, because there is so much reward or so much awards in the sales business.
All right, you're watching News Desk. You can see the Julius Malema arriving at the Kotoka International Airport. Want to listen into what he's saying.
And economic emancipation of the land of Africa, not only in Ghana. The democracy in Ghana is very old compared to other democracies in the continent, but the means of production are still owned by those who previously colonized us. And how do we go beyond that? Because political freedom without economic emancipation is meaningless. And this type of engagements seek to ensure that the people of the continent are aware that if we stand divided, only the imperialist and colonialist forces stand to benefit. The unity of Africa is a threat to the enemies of Africa.
A lot of the issues you've been speaking against in South Africa are prevalent here. Issues of unemployment, issues of intermittent power supply, and all of that. How did we get here, and how do we get out of it?
Well, if you drift away from Nkrumah's principles of state-led development and you strategic sectors of the economy, you will never address the issue of unemployment, because the interest of business is to maximize on profit. And every time you privatize something that is strategic, the first victims of privatization is the workers. They remove the workers in order to maximize on profit. So if we have a state-led, corrupt-free development, then you are guaranteed to absorb as many people as possible, because the role of the state is not to make profit, is to generate sufficient resources to finance its social responsibility programs.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. All right. Africa now.
Also, we just heard there from a prominent South African politician, also founder and leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Julius Malema. He is in Ghana, arrived at the Kotoka International Airport. He will be participating in a dialogue organized by pressure group Arise Ghana. Organizers say the event will provide the youth of Ghana a chance to connect with his activism and commitment to a liberated and united Africa. And that's it for this segment. The news continues after the break.
Let's go live to the University of Ghana, where there's an update since Teo joined the strike of the Senior Staff Association of Universities. My colleague Kenneth JC is there for us. He joins us live. Kenneth, what's the latest from the Legon campus?
Right, Aisha. So the latest is that this morning they held placards to vent home their anger, and then they were intercepted by the police. The police tried to stop them and have a conversation with them as to why they do not have, or they have not come for a permit to demonstrate. And they did mention that they were not demonstrating, but rather venting their frustration at the government for withholding their Tier 2 pension and also not improving their conditions of service. They're seated here right now, and then they'll be having a brief chat with me. Tell us what happened between you and the police this morning.
Now this morning, as part of our strategy, we decided to go to the main gate and with a placard to demonstrate our message to the public. So once we were there, after we had the gate closed for a while, then we saw that police people, we had intelligence that police people were coming after us. So among ourselves, we decided that we will sit. So we seated and came back. So we came back to the union office, go to the union office. Then we had another message that the district police officer and the commander from airport are here to meet us. So when they came, they said that they are here because they had a call that we are demonstrating. Then we told them that we are not demonstrating. And they said that we are demonstrating. For that matter, we need to inform them. And nobody has given us, we are going to give notifications, and they have not given us the opportunity to demonstrate. So after speaking, saying that, no, madam, we are not demonstrating. We are on strike as workers. We have the right to strike. And we have been back on strike so many years now, we have not notified any police. It's between our management and the workers. As far as we are also concerned, we have done the needful to notify Labour Commission, all the necessary agencies.
From the various campuses in our subsequent bulletins. That's how we wrap up News Desk this morning. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. See you again at 12.